Gentlemen, I'm Antonio Centeno, the founder of Real Men, Real Style. In today's video, I'm laying out my 10 timeless rules to help you become more stylish. Rule number one, you've got to give a damn. To make change happen, you've got to want it yourself. You've got to have something that's driving you. You've got to have a why, a force that is pushing you. I've had so many guys reach out to me and they want to improve their style, not because they care about style, but because they've been rejected, because something has happened in their life. They're going through some type of transition where they got fired, they got a new job. They're out looking for a job because they just graduated college. They just got their MBA. They just got their bachelor's. They've left the military. Something has happened in their life. Their little girl's about to get married and they want to look good at the wedding. And this guy, he's a plumber. He's owned this business for 30 years, multi-millionaire. But you know what? He is intimidated by a suit because he's never worn one before. Let's be clear. Style is not about suits. Style is about you controlling the image, you controlling the message that you send with your clothing. It's the way people judge you, the way people make a decision. So a lot of men, we wear sports jackets, we wear suits because people are conditioned to give us an extra 15 to 30 seconds of credibility time. And this can mean the difference between you getting your nonprofit off the ground and you convincing those bankers that you're worth investing in, or maybe you want to create the sale. You want to get up there on stage, and this is going to help you get your foot in the door. Quick story. So I had a woman the other day email me saying she wanted to improve the style of her husband. She knew that he had so much potential and she wants to improve his style. Can I help him? And the answer is no. Now, she can do a few things for him, but when it comes down to it, he has to help himself. And that's what I want to stress, gentlemen. You've got to have the fire, you've got to have the desire to seek change in your life for any of this to work. Rule number two, embrace change. So you've probably heard the saying that the only constant in life is change. I agree. And guess what, gents? This applies to your style. So many guys, they fall into a rut. They are wearing the same clothing that they wore 20, 30 years ago. They haven't re-examined, what are my goals? What image do I want to project? When I was a young second lieutenant, there was a particular image I wanted to project with my uniform. After I went to business school, when I was there at the University of Texas getting my MBA, there was a particular image I wanted to project as I was interviewing with all these high-level consulting companies. Whenever I went off and started my first company, there was a particular look that I was going for. And the same should be for guys out there that want to go out there and are go-getters and understand the power of presentation. Because as you transition from one career to another, as your goals, as what you're going after in life, as they mature, so should your look. And it can be little things like, hey, you get away from cheap fragrances and you start to go for some that are a little bit nicer, a little bit more refined, ones that you start to hate. My smell has developed a bit more and I really like this. Or maybe it's going to be simply what you wear. Instead of just always going for the t-shirts, you start to wear dress shirts. Maybe you do throw on a sports jacket. I'm not saying you got to go full on suit, or it could even be the colors you're going with. As you start to get a little bit of gray, as you start to change, all of a sudden you find that some colors that you shied away from actually start to work for your palette. When a man embraces change with his style, all of a sudden he becomes more nimble. If you can imagine, this is something that you start to be able to control and you start to be able to leverage to your advantage. Rule number three, define who you are and practice being that person. So none of us are born great. We all have to grow. We all have to develop ourselves. And the first part of being who you want to be is identifying who that person is. We've got this amazing ability, this amazing freedom to actually choose who we want to be in this life. Now, most people never make that choice. They kind of go along with what life is telling them to do, with what society is dictating on them, and they get so busy, so wrapped up in things that they wake up one day and they're 95 years old on their deathbed and they never lived their own life. Don't be that person. Take the time to examine your life. The examined life is the only life worth living. And yes, it's going to take some time, thought. You're going to have to think. You're going to have to reflect on some things. Maybe get feedback from people that care about you, that love you. Maybe work with a coach. But all of a sudden, you're going to have a better idea of really what's going to make you happy. What is it that you want to achieve in life? Not what society's telling you that you should achieve. And you may find that those are very different. So now that you've taken the time to define who you want to be, now let's practice dressing like that. You want to have a uniform. A uniform, when I was in the Marine Corps, we had a particular uniform. Anyone that served as a firefighter, as a police officer, in any type of responder position, you know what a uniform is. It's something that you default to that sends the message you want to send. So with your uniform, is it sending the message you want to send? If you work in a nonprofit, if you're a banker, if you are a consultant, if you are in sales, if you are simply just going out there and wanting to start your own company, what is your image? What is your presentation? What is your clothing saying about you before you even open your mouth? That is the power of a uniform. This should be clothing that you default to, the clothing that you simply make easy to wear. You've got maybe multiples of a particular shirt. You've got maybe a shirt, yes, with your company's name or logo on it, a polo shirt, a t-shirt, even if you're working outside and you're mowing people's lawns. I don't know what type of work you're doing, but I do know that once you think through what image you want to project and you set up a series of uniforms, all of a sudden you allow style to work for you. I'm not talking about the whimsical winds of fashion here in runways. I'm talking about a tool, using your image and your presentation to have a leg up on your competitors and to really make this easy so that you always send the message you want to send. Now, this next point is probably one of my favorites, and that is be curious. Because when you're curious, you don't just learn things because you got to learn them. You learn them because you want to, because it's really interesting. You start falling down the rabbit hole, and that's when the magic happens. You go out there and you start buying books on style, and you're checking out all these icons, and you realize that warriors, yes, people that served in the military, various branches, cared about style. And that's where a lot of menswear came from, the military. You start going out there and looking at all these different actors, and you see how even in their off time they dressed well because they understood the power of image and presentation. And when you start to realize that, you understand how style plays a part in everything you see out there. And then you start getting into fun things like watches. You go out there and you buy dive watches from companies no one's ever heard from. You go out there and sometimes spends thousands of dollars. Again, companies like Monta that just simply no one talks about, but you understand they're using quality parts, and you want to own a part of a watch brand that could grow into something bigger. Or maybe you don't spend much at all and you go out there and buy an inexpensive watch like the Orient Bambino that is beautiful, and you understand for what it is, I actually love this watch. You go out there and maybe buy a Rolex. Point being is you start falling down this, and whenever you put on a pair of shades, you understand I'm not really putting on sunglasses, I'm putting on a piece of history. Protective layers that aviators would wear whenever they were flying up at high altitudes and they wanted to protect their eyes. I am part of that tradition. Next up, let's talk about quality over quantity. Now me, I'm a trailer park kid. So for us, it was all about how much can you get with as little money as possible. But that's not the philosophy you want to take into style, especially timeless style. What you want to own are things that are never going to go out of style, that are going to stick around. And when I say never, I'm talking 10 years, 20 years. And thankfully, most items in menswear, classic menswear, stick around. And then you can make an investment in a piece that's going to look better over time. Yeah, when you buy a pair of really nice shoes that are Goodyear welted or Blake stitched, and they're in a classic style, they are going to age. They're going to look better as you polish them again and again. You're going to actually spend money on a watch that will become an heirloom and will increase in value. Gents, it's worth it to save up your pennies to buy the product that you want, even if you have to pay a premium. Cry once about that price, then enjoy that product for years to come. The next timeless style rule that every man needs to know, the style pyramid: fit, fabric, and function. Gentlemen, never buy a piece of clothing that doesn't fit you or cannot be adjusted to fit your body. If it's 95% off, doesn't matter. Don't buy it unless you're buying it for a friend and you know this is going to fit him. Because if something doesn't fit you, gentlemen, it doesn't matter if you paid $2,000, $4,000 for that suit. Guess what? If it can't be adjusted to fit you and it doesn't fit you, it is never going to look good. A $200 suit, a suit that cost 1/10, 1/20th that amount right there, is going to look better if it fits you. Fit is king, gentlemen, so never buy anything and never wear anything that doesn't fit your body type. Next up, let's talk about fabric. So when I say fabric, I'm referring to the build, the construction, the materials that go into the items that you're purchasing. To the best of your ability, whatever you can afford, go for the best fabric you can. So particularly with suits, go for 100% wool. If you cannot afford that and you see a 50-50 blend, then talk to the salesman. Try to find someone that's knowledgeable so that he can tell you how is this going to perform. I can tell you that there are some 50-50 blends that are not bad, especially when you get a killer deal. But if you think that you're getting a great suit and you're spending $1,000, you better be getting 100% wool. Maybe something that's got a little bit of linen, maybe something that's got a little bit of a mix in with a satin or a really nice silk. What you're looking for then is when you're spending that kind of money, you're getting the material. When you spend $300, $400, $500 on shoes, you want to make sure you're getting a Blake stitch, you're getting a Goodyear welt. They're using leather soles, that they're using a good leather upper. This is important. And I'm not going to say that this is easy to all pick up in one video, but I am saying that you can walk into the best menswear store in your area and you can educate yourself, because once you hold and you touch a $1,000 sports jacket, you see what the difference is between that fabric and a cheap fabric. You hold in your hands and you touch and you examine a pair of $500 shoes. You start to see those details and you're going to be more aware of them. So when you walk into a store and you see that $1,000 jacket in a different store, different place, different time, and it's on sale for $200 and it fits you, you'll know that this is a great deal and you can jump on it. And now let's talk about function. By function, I mean, is the clothing going to serve your professional and personal needs? So if you're a lawyer in New York City, buying a black tie outfit may actually be in the cards. It may work out because you attend a number of black tie events yearly, charity events, and yeah, you're going to get wear out of this. But if you own a landscaping business down in San Antonio, Texas, do you want to buy a black tie outfit even though you could get one on sale and it would fit you and you can afford it and you can get great fabric? The answer is probably no, because you really don't attend too many events. You've never attended an event in which you would need to wear this. And that is the function. You want to make sure when you purchase something that is going to serve a functional purpose, you're going to be able to get miles out of this, because the most expensive clothing you will ever buy is the clothing you never wear. The next timeless star rule that every man should consider is building an interchangeable wardrobe. So when I say the word interchangeable, what I'm referring to is clothing that is simple, that is going to easily match every other piece in your wardrobe. So if you had 4 pairs of shoes, you had 4 shirts, 4 trousers, and 4 jackets, guess what, gentlemen? If we had 100% interchangeability, we wouldn't have just 4 outfits. We would have 256 outfits. Yes, it's not math in the sense of addition. This is multiplication. And what I love about this is you can own less clothing, get tons of outfits. When you travel, you can travel light. When you understand the power of interchangeability, it gives you the ability to spend less time thinking about what you're going to wear and simply being able to put together a wide range of combinations and always look good. Now, this next style rule you're going to love because it makes things easy, and that is develop style systems. So systems are structures that make things simple. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to be thinking in the morning when you're getting dressed, what am I going to put together? Where are the things I'm looking for? You want it to be easy. So when you're developing a style system, you've got a closet that is free from debris. What am I talking about? All the stained clothing, the clothing that doesn't fit you, the things that don't look good on you. Guess what? You've packaged up, you've put to the back of your closet, and you have started to add items, pieces that look good for you. They're up front, they're pressed, your shoes are shined. By doing this, by laying out your clothing the night before, you don't have to think, there isn't any processing to dress sharp. It's just simply what is laid out there and what is simple. When you go to look for your sunglasses, you realize, oh, I've got a whole box where I keep my sunglasses and I put them back after I'm done wearing them. You've got a box for your watches, maybe even a watch winder that keeps your watches wound. And what happens here is it becomes easier to look good than it does to look bad. And all of a sudden, you start looking at yourself. You've got a full-length mirror, so you can look at yourself and you can see how everything's going together. And you walk into your closet. Eventually, I know this happened to me after I started working on this for a few years. And you look at that jacket, and you're like, wow, that looks good. You look at this other one, you're like, wow, that one makes me look amazing. And you go, oh, this one is perfect. The thing is, you realize you've got a closet full of items, of clothing, of pieces of accessories that you absolutely love. And that's when the magic happens, gentlemen, when you can put together outfits that every time you put this clothing on, you feel like $1,000,000, and it's easy to do. The next timeless star rule is to smile. Assume people like you and learn your manners. Your basic etiquette. So many people think this stuff is outdated. They don't bother with it because, yeah, I'm not even meeting up with people. I am rarely engaging with another human being. Why does it matter? Here's the thing. It's not outdated. In fact, it's more important than ever. It used to be that if you had a bad first impression, you would get another opportunity to make it up. Nowadays, with all these Zoom and Skype meetings, you have less and less opportunities to make a good first impression. And most people don't always make the best first impression. So you want to be on your your toes. This is going to give you a competitive edge. And here's the thing with manners. It's simply being a good person and understanding how to project that, how to make people feel good. You may say a lot. You may be a smart guy, but if you make other people feel below you, if you make them feel you offend them, you upset them, guess what? They're going to stop listening to you. They have forgotten what you said, but they will always remember that you made them feel small, that you made them feel little. And guess what? The opposite. If you maybe didn't say everything you needed to, but you made people feel great, they love being around you. That because you got great manners. You simply build them up. All of a sudden, you are going to be remembered as a better person than probably what you deserve. And now let's talk about confidence. Confidence is your inner strength. This is your inner power to be able to face the day's challenges. If you don't have confidence, this is going to sink your style. If you have great confidence, strong confidence, this is going to skyrocket your style. You see, the funny thing about confidence is it doesn't make you smarter. It doesn't actually make you more competent. It just simply allows you to deal with obstacles and problems with a better attitude. And that right there is attractive to everybody. As a man, yeah, I want another business partner. I want somebody in my life that can help my company deal with the obstacles and problems that we face on a daily basis. As a woman, they want to have somebody in their life that's going to be able to deal with the ups and downs that life is going to throw at you guys as a partner, and they want a confident man. Now, here's the thing. Nobody is born with unshakable confidence. This is something that you've got to build, you've got to work on, and that you've got to improve oftentimes on a daily basis. And unfortunately, a lot of guys can have their confidence come crashing down when they go through a bad relationship, they go through a divorce, whenever they go through a bankruptcy, they have financial failures, whenever they lose their job. Now, gents, I got a very special video I want you to check out. It's an unlisted, non-public video that I filmed with my friend Lee. We were talking about overcoming failure, and we talked about the 5 steps to command confidence. In this video, it's a bit longer, but we share all types of crazy stories from bankruptcy to divorce to actually getting carjacked, and how you can build your confidence up when you have just things happen in life, and how you can build unshakable confidence. Guys, check out this video right here. I will link to it down in the description.